everyone, my name is Morah Leora and welcome to Storytime on JKids Radio. Today I'd like to share a story with you called Tree and Bird, a Havdalah adventure. Fall had come to the land of Israel. Winter was not far behind. The winds blowing in from the Negev and Sea of Galilee began to chill. In a meadow, hares hopped and played in the sun. Long-haired hedgehogs prepared for their winter nap. Birds sat on a branch, safe inside tree's canopy of leaves. "Oh, tree, I have to leave again today," he said. "I have a long journey to make, but I will come home soon." Bird needed to leave his best friend. All the other olive tree warblers would soon be in South Africa. Spring was about to begin there. Bird flew high over the Sea of Galilee. It comforted him to know that Tree would be there when he came home. She had watched over the Galilee for 1,000 years or more. Israel's mountains and fields slipped by below Bird's wings. Finally, he arrived in Jerusalem. As night came closer, Bird found a quiet garden. He landed on the branch of a graceful date palm. He had arrived in time for Shabbat, the day of rest. Date Palm was curious. She asked about Bird's friend Tree and summer in Africa. She spoke about the young family living in the house at the end of the garden. Bird learned about the many generations of families that had lived there before. Bird enjoyed a peaceful night. Saturday was warm and quiet. The sun set and the first 3 stars appeared. Mother, father, and the 2 children stood together in the garden and said goodbye to the Shabbat. Lighting a beautiful candle with many wicks, they blessed the fire's light. Raising a cup of wine, they blessed the fruit of the vine. Then each took a sniff of the aromatic spices and said the blessing. They looked at the light flickering off their fingernails. The reflected glow reminded them that the light of Shabbat was bright enough to embrace them all. Shabbat had passed, and a new week began. The following morning, Bird chirped his goodbye and flew on. Bird soared along the coast of the Mediterranean Sea. He passed over Ashkelon, the desert sand. He followed the huge Nile River south. Like other birds, he stayed close to the fertile green banks where the trees grew thick. He glided far above the pyramids of Luxor in Egypt and over Sudan and South Sudan. He flew and flew, stopping only to eat or rest in a friendly tree. Bird reached the lush forest of Mount Elgon in Uganda. A proud Cape Ash tree offered him a perch. The view from Cape Ash's branches was breathtaking. Early in the morning, Bird flew off to look for tasty bugs to eat. When he was ready to return to Cape Ash at the end of the day, he saw a small village. The community had gathered in the dusty square. Adults and children carried wine, spices, and candles. As the dark crept in, they said goodbye to the Shabbat. Their familiar songs and prayers joined the sound of the warm tropical evening. Returning to his perch in the dark, Bird asked Cape Ash about the people in the valley. "They are the Abu Daya Jews," creaked Ash. "I recognize the prayers and songs," said Bird. "I have heard the same words in Israel." Bird soon flew on to join the other olive tree warblers in South Africa. When he arrived, a sycamore fig tree offered him shelter. Animals gathered in her shade for protection from the hot sun and huge thunderstorms. Fig Tree had put down deep roots near the Letaba River. Elephant, zebra, and 1,000 other animals lived there. Visitors came to be close to the animals. Fig Tree had been there a long time. She had seen people from every part of the world. "I must have heard 1,000 languages," Fig liked to say. One Saturday evening, Bird saw the glow from a flickering candle flame. It came from the human camp they called Letaba. Curious, he flew from his perch and settled on a nearby fence. Once again, Bird heard the familiar Havdalah prayers. The family stood under the first 3 stars. They sipped wine, smelled spices, and raised their hands to the candlelight. As he shared their joyful Havdalah, Bird felt close to his friends. He thought of Tree on her mountain. He remembered Date Palm in Jerusalem, Cape Ash in Uganda, and Fig nearby. The African summer ended. It was time for Bird to make the long journey home. After many weeks of flying north, Bird arrived in Israel. At long last he saw Tree. She had not moved from her mountaintop. His heart leapt with joy and excitement as he landed. "Welcome home, Bird," whispered Tree. Bird leaned his head on her gnarled trunk. "I flew 1,000 miles, but you never left my heart, old friend," he said.